Justice Agenda inside Seshi Asawinso. I like your name, man, Agenda. Sounds like a TV program. Good morning. My name is King Hassan Zabzugu. Power indeed can blind some people. The people that he lived with for more than 20 years are now a threat to his security. Wow. Where does he want them to go? I'm sure you are referring to these gentlemen and women who are being asked to leave the premises of the president. Good morning, Mr. Kavui Day. I think these criminals must be jailed to rot, so others can learn bitter lessons from them. Don Rapper at Tema. You can do same as all these people who have texted. Send us your WhatsApp on 0557-207-351. And remember, we have a conversation with a woman who's doing great things in the technology space as we continue to press for progress. Women, technology and development. Thelma Quay is our conversation guest on Hard Talk. But for now, it's the breakfast review. My guests are raring to go, so let's get to it right now. Okay, so my guests are here. I just want to introduce them to you. To my immediate left is Yao Pong. He is a lawyer, and he used to, at some point, teach, but I think he's on a mini sabbatical leave of some sort. Are you not?
Oh, well, I mean, teaching is a long-term profession, so okay. I'm a teacher.
You're still a teacher?
But I'm not particularly in the classroom now.
Right now, okay, good. I'm sure that your students miss you. Yeah. And next to him is a teacher. And he's Dr. Kobe Mensah. He's at the University of Ghana Business School, and your subject area is marketing, right?
Yeah, marketing. Okay. Everything marketing.
Okay, political, relationship, all of that stuff.
That's right, yeah.
Are the students doing well?
Very. My students are great. In fact, we're having a tourism marketing exhibition in April.
Okay.
Fantastic
Great.
stuff.
If you give me an invitation, I'll come over.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's look at the pictures now, shall we? I'm going to start with security issues. Daily Graphic grabbed kingpins in robbery cases in police custody. Pictures of, and these are artist impressions of 5 people. I wonder where the photos were. But from today's Daily Graphic, police have made 2 major arrests in connection with the Royal Motors Limited robbery, the killing of the Lebanese cashier in Tema, and the Kwabenya jailbreak. So 11 suspects were arrested from March 5 to March 10, 2018. The IGP on Saturday said the police were on the heels of many other suspects whose identities were being shelved. Okay, he said the arrest of one of them, whose picture the police did not have at the time of his escape, should send a signal to the criminals that the police are on their heels. The IGP has appealed to members of the public to support the police with information, since security is a shared responsibility. He's commending us, the members of the public, who have been collaborating with the police. And in a related story, Daily Guide, page 6, IGP joins night patrols as part of the stepped-up security. Mr. Opong, what do you make of these stories? The fact that these people have been grabbed and the IGP is seen to be doing something with the men on the ground.
Yes, we thank God. It's fantastic. And I think that at least stories like this give us or some assurance or that something is being done by those who have been paid or who continue to be paid to perform such public services. And for me, it's good. But before I go into the details, let me also commend Daily Graphic. I sometimes take them on when I think they haven't done what is right. Artist impression, that is the way to go. I mean, there should be no reason why a suspect, we have given ourselves a constitution. We say that even when somebody steals my phone and I grab him, take him to the police station, he has still not committed an offense. He's innocent. And so why should we then put sometimes so-and-so rapist grab? And the picture is there for his own safety and even the safety of the victims. Let's try and as much as possible conceal at least the identity. Because if we get it wrong and eventually he is acquitted and discharged because he wasn't even the person we had thought was or had engaged in a criminal offense. In recent times, people have sued the state for wrongful arrest, detention, and even imprisonment. And your tax and mine has been used to pay compensation to these people. So I think that all media houses, TV, newspapers should learn this new trend, which is as old as maybe when media system started. Elsewhere, the courtroom, you never see the identity of these persons. Usually it's the artist until the case is disposed of. And I think that's something that we should all emulate. Even names, putting out names is problematic, but at least maybe we will get there. But the pictures, that is not to condone anything. I mean, we appreciate the work that the IGP is doing, leadership by example, but we should need more. I think these days fighting crime is not so much about physical presence of personnel, soft technology. I mean, the fear that if you pick somebody's product without his consent, a camera has already taken your picture and they will trace you to your home. So maybe digital addressing system is very important. Vehicles. Also, it's so easy to arrest people who have, there's this thing going on in the social media, I think from Trinidad or so. I mean, you pick the vehicle, within the next 5 minutes, you are arrested on your way thinking that you have had a booty. This is the way to go, because we cannot get 29 million police people to monitor or protect all of us. But one camera can protect about 1 million Ghanaians. Whilst they feel protected, those with criminal minds also know that, because that is one thing that prevents crime, is the assurance to you, even the potential criminal, that you'll be caught. As for punishment, is another level. So the preventative action that we should take, for me, is more important.
Are we getting there with the preventive? Because, I mean, in some other countries, there are cameras on every major street. I mean, you can't misbehave.
But also, apart from the cameras provided by the state, individual companies, sometimes it is not even the state cameras. But if there's a bank here, they'll just come to the bank and get your CCTV. How many of these companies have even invested in this? And you must make it visible. Don't hide it. Like road cameras. Elsewhere, it is there. You know, they even warn you that there's a camera ahead. You will slow down. They are more concerned about you not
committing
causing, let's say, harm to someone just to arrest you and imprison you, when the person would have lost a limb or his life. Let us concentrate more on that aspect. For me, I think that idea is not, as for human beings, we like to take liberties. Even when we know that this belongs to somebody else and I should not deprive him, because if somebody deprives me of my property, it will be painful to me. We will still, for some reason, attempt to commit a crime. But the assurance that you'll be caught, and then when you are caught, as for the court, trust me, the judges are there waiting. Very bold and fearless. And you see, the interest, maybe it's so disheartening that now some of the criminals don't care.
They don't fear the judges.
I mean, one went to a judge's house, or a group of them, said, we know you're a judge. We would have harmed you, but we hear you're a very good judge. So just give us your phones and things like that.
For real?
Yes, and the judge was just lying down and they stepping on him. I mean, the child had fallen sick in the midnight, took him to the hospital with the wife, left the wife to come back so that he can protect the other
But
kids.
I thought judges had police protection. Or it's
not all of them.
Level.
Yes, not all of them.
Right.
And some of them, their protection is just from house to the office and back. And then, you know, we don't have enough police the same time. So they are so daring. Stories about they even going to police barracks. The last time I heard one at one of the military barracks, they had gone to steal parts of their vehicles. So it's as if their life, for them, their life is so worthless. But I think the more the incentive they get, maybe the higher incentive, is that they will not be caught.
So when we tighten the systems, then it will give them some apprehension to go
that
and do
they will
what
not
they're
be
going to
caught.
do. Okay.
And some of them also, especially at the level of the state, those who steal, they weigh the incentive. I will save these monies. I will save this property. I will change it into somebody else's name. I will just go to jail for 3 years and come back. I have invested. So when you measure this, so there was one case, and I totally agree with one of the judges, that sometimes we should also stop hiding the convicted criminals. So a prominent person is convicted, not before, convicted. Let him be sweeping the high street every morning. If he's a member of parliament, take him to parliament as part of his punishment. I think they did it to Rooney or one of those guys.
Yeah, community service.
Yes.
Yeah. Very visible community service.
Visible.
Yeah. So sweep around where you used to work.
Where you used to work, especially the so-called prominent ones. If he's a DC, let him go to
his community.
His community, where the black and white, or now somewhere blue.
Blue. Yeah. Ghana is blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
let them wear it, and then be sweeping. Maybe with a note behind him or in front of him that
this is your former DC.
I'm a convicted sexual thief.
Okay.
1 week. The signal it will send to almost everybody, for me, will be, I mean, you go to the prison, they have VIPs. Yeah, of course, I have always been against the deplorable conditions in the prisons. I think it shouldn't be different from normal boarding house.
Yeah.
Already, the person's liberty has been curtailed.
Yeah. So don't make it worse.
So don't make it worse.
Okay.
But the conditions in our prisons is so deplorable. It's been improved because the first time I went to Nsawam to visit when we were in school, we went for a trip. I think it was 1993 or 94 thereabout. And I remember that was when G-Man, the very day he was being taken. And if all of us could not even talk to each other when we were returning because of the condition. Yeah. I went there about 2 years ago to visit in a group, and things are getting better. It's nowhere near what that is better in terms of when you are comparing. Anyway.
Okay.
So I think that we should also look at and look, when the person knows that, knowing who I am, if I'm arrested and convicted today, and I'm going to sweep the streets of Accra as a criminal or a person who has been convicted, he may even then opt for this pre-trial bargain.
Yeah, so that you can sort
pay
things
off the
out
money.
before.
Because for me, my first call is let us retrieve
the
and recover monies and properties lost to the state.
So that people don't go and enjoy after they've come out from the prison.
Sometimes even the politicians will also come and give them
amnesty,
pardon them, and not to think about the money they have stolen.
Okay.
And the annoying thing, forgive me this morning, is we give them even more juicy jobs
after they've come out from prison.
After they have come out from prison.
Lots of examples have happened in this country.
A lot.
But thank you very much for your thoughts on this particular development of the grabbing of these criminals and how the police are stepping up their action. Dr. Mensah, what do you make of this? I mean, kingpins and robbery cases in police custody grabbed, IGP going out on night patrols. What do you make of that?
Good morning, and good morning to Mr. Pon as well. I think he's fantastically said exactly what is in my mind. You know, very sufficient what he has actually said. I mean, let's look at the police in itself and look at how other countries are actually, you know, tackling issues like this. And we talked about attitudinal issues. You talked about, look, every society or, you know, every attitude change is actually underpinned by two things. One, knowledge. That is the awareness, you know, and two, the institution of rewards and punitive measures. So one, the person is aware, so they're aware of, you know, the consequences, they're aware of the good things that will happen, and they're also aware that if they do A, they get this, if they do B, they get that.
Yeah.
Now, perhaps awareness, you can say yes. Everybody knows Ghana is filthy. We have to do something about it, etc. Two, are we really aware that if we do this, we'll be punished? No. Everybody knows that you can go scot-free. Everybody knows that some big man somewhere can pick a phone and call somebody, and then you'll be released. All right. So that's exactly what is happening. There is no, you know, awareness of the punishment that we will get. Even if we're aware of it, we don't respect it because we can go scot-free about of it. There is no awareness that you have some rewards, and if there is an awareness of it, people don't think they will get it if they do the right things. All right. So that's exactly what is going. I mean, you don't have to physically be there. You know, you can put cameras, as Mr. Pon has, you know, fantastically elaborated. Elsewhere, that's what they do. You know, the cameras are there. You know, when you're caught within 7 days, that's a week, you'll be served. You know,
is that the UK system?
Exactly, you'll be served.
Amazing.
If you don't pay within that period, the money triples, or you know.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You know, I get driving ban. I had a driving ban. I drove to Manchester, and I think I was looking for an area. So, in my, you know, looking, I missed the traffic. Immediately, I got served, and they
on
sent
phone
it.
or what? Or they...
I got served with a letter, and I wasn't there. So, my wife had to send it to me, and then I had to call in to pay for my card first of all, and then I was supposed to either take a point or go for, lessons because you have to change.
You can't be crossing red lights like that.
Exactly. You have to go for a lesson. Now, I couldn't go for a lesson. I had to actually pay and then get a point on my license. It's there, so you're always
explain that aspect about the point, because it's very interesting.
So the point system is that whenever you commit a particular offense,
took over your job.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. Cool.
Whenever you commit an offense, depending on the what do you call
the gravity,
the gravity of
the
it,
nature.
Yeah, you get a particular point, 3 points, 6 points, etc. If you get, for example, traffic offense, and you get up to some point, your license is revoked, and then you can't drive for a period of time. All right, and again, you will be asked to go for lessons, driving lessons. So that's, and it's not easy. You have to spend your whole day there. And you don't want to go through some of these things.
So your point is that the police needs to be supported with all these systems. Technology must come in to help fight crime and offenses.
I mean, now they're saying we're about what,
29.6 million.
How could you have police ratios that would actually suit this number? We can't. We have to actually move a step further. We have to. And when we move that step further, we're not saying that there are not hardened guys who would still, but we're saying that you reduce the level of indiscipline, the level of anarchy and chaos on our streets, every day. And once the state is actually taking those measures, the corporate world will follow suit, because then there will be battles to sort of force them to also have, cameras at the environment. All right? Yeah. So you have the public places being taken care of by the state, and then perhaps the private, corporate bodies would actually follow. But my point is that we are talking about private sector led. Why don't you even outsource it? Let somebody make business out of it. Yes. So if the state cannot do it, get Kafui, who is a businessman, to say, Kafui, take care of this street. So you have a demarcation that your company is taking care of, has its cameras. Another, maybe East Legon area, another company is taking care of that area. At the end of the day, the police coordinate, they look at reports and things, so create jobs for people. You can use that as a job creation. And the cameras are not just there. They are monitored from a room, a control room. Yeah. So you employ people who are actually watching what's happening and coordinating and linking with police. Do you get it?
Yes, I do.
So I think that we must diversify our thinking of job creation. We must think, technology. And I'm telling you, these young guys, and I know my students have been doing, they can code softwares for some of these monitoring. They can code softwares for some of these monitoring. You are creating jobs, backroom jobs, IT jobs, administrative jobs, other things.
And you're solving problems.
And you're solving problems.
I want you to comment on the symbolism of this. So the Daily Guide, page 6, and the headline is IGP joins night patrol. So Daily Guide recently cited a picture of Mr. Santia Pietu, the IGP, dressed in a bulletproof jacket and other accoutrements as he was about to lead his men on one of the night patrol duties in Accra. So a police source who pleaded anonymity stated that the decision by the IGP to lead the night patrol operations in Accra has contributed to the decline of criminal activities. Now, what's your thought on that?
The person had his identity.
No, good news. Yeah, it's good. The picture has been shown, but the man is not telling us who he is. What do you think?
It's fantastic for us, but a lot of people don't see this. I mean, the very many people, especially the criminals, I don't think a lot of them have seen the IGP in bulletproof vests. We, those who read newspapers and listen to your news, would see them, and then it will give us assurance, like Mr. Pon said, that something is being done, and therefore our fear level will go down. But those who are perpetuating it are not going to see this. How many of them read newspapers? How many of them listen to the news?
What is it worth? I mean, it's symbolic, right?
It's symbolic, and I think I commend him for doing that, and I'm sure it comes at the back of being invited by the leadership and saying, my friend, what's going on?
Should it have been a front page picture? Should we have seen the IGP in his full regalia
perhaps
on the front page?
But the point is that
it's tucked away in page 6.
The point is that if leadership does that, then it means there's a momentum behind the actions, all right, which I appreciate. But I think that we must go beyond the symbolism, because it only goes to us. We see and then we get confidence in the system.
So
they
don't see. What do you think? I mean, is it about time?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think that our leaders should always, this is the example given by Jesus. You should always lead because you are a leader. But you are not to be someone who should rather be at the rear whilst others lead. And if you must lead, then you must be working. And the police job is not just for the offices and so on, and be receiving salute, with all due respect. You must lead in the public. I mean, he must, if he's seen on the street in the morning, rush hour, helping to ensure that there's the traffic
discipline,
situation is eased, there's discipline. Sometimes the mere sight of our leaders doing this will also, in a way, give us further assurance that things are being done.
President Rawlings used to jump into gutters, and people said he was being populist.
Oh, well, but if you to solve the problem,
just go ahead and do it.
I don't mind what adjective or whatever now you put to it. But then, about attitude, maybe sometimes it's unfair to still use examples from elsewhere, but they guide us. You walk on the street, you enter your house. In the UK, no cameras. Or maybe if cameras, but there are no barbed wires, no electric fencing, no security man, no CCTV, even sometime in your house.
Yeah.
There are no walls. Why here? You build your small house. You must wall it and even cover the house.
Yeah.
You must have CCTV. You must have electric fence. Sometimes barbed wire, if you are not as rich as I am.
And a very big dog.
A big dog. You can invest about half the money you have applied to build your house.
Securing your one
just
plot.
to secure one plot. So what is wrong? Why is it that? And it really hit me when for example, I was in the UK recently. I've been there previously. I hadn't really experienced it. And you just enter your house, you open your door, you enter. That is your house. It's just like entering your room inside the house. And you are not so much afraid. We are not saying they are not also prone to commit crimes. But at least when it comes to home security,
you've got to
they have gone a bit far. It's all also because no one is following you, but you know for sure you'll be caught. And the idea that you'll be caught, and when you are caught, as he said, there's a punishment for you, deters people. They have petty crimes they commit. They have huge crimes they commit. But my main worry is, why must... And so elsewhere, Canada, and so you cannot even build and wall your house to the extent that nobody can see. It has been said that in itself also encourages...
high wall makes somebody want to jump over and see what's inside,
what is inside. And apart from that, you cannot easily see outside.
Exactly. So keep it low, keep it transparent. So when somebody jumps inside, you can see him from outside, and you can see him.
So why should the person even just try to jump inside?
Yeah, there's a lot.
And people justify it because of poverty. I'm sorry, no crime. Go, the person will be wearing his shirt. Just steal that shirt from him. The only shirt. It will pain him. So why must he go and steal somebody else's things? These are normal things. So maybe our pastors, and sometimes it comes to a point that we must even plead with the people. Please, don't engage in these crimes. Because sometimes punishment may not even deter them. Their life have reached a certain boiling point that they don't mind being killed.
So that's the kind of level we probably have to get to. That's where you only have the hardcores, who really want to kind of create, anarchy and
because they are not scared of anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see, so we should, as much as possible, to do the things that will keep a lot of people at bay, and then perhaps leave the small, then the small number percentage. Then that one, please,
it's manageable.
Exactly.
Okay, well, you guys, you've been responding to our conversation. Daniel Yao Gerald from Kumasi Asafo says, I commend the police for the hard work in arresting these robbers. I also think the presence of the IGP must not be felt before the police can work hard. For Ghana, beyond aid to be achieved, security is critical. Thank you very much, Daniel Yao Gerald. I'll keep a couple more security questions here. Okay. Good morning. I think what brought us here is that because the government refused to prosecute the vigilante, so-called vigilante groups after the numerous crimes they committed, the smart ones thought it was wise to follow that direction since the government is toothless. Until the government starts prosecuting its people when they commit these crimes, the work of the police will be in vain, says Malik Adama. It's 7:32. You're watching GH1 TV. Let's talk filth now.
But in all fairness, they actually faced prosecution.
They did go, yes.
It was a court that after hearing them,
gave them
applied the law, and
that was a law.
I think they were even convicted and paid fines.
And paid fines, indeed.
So
yeah.
I think that
the chaps in Kumasi.
In all fairness,
yeah. So that's a good point that's been made. Yeah, the lawyers look for the small points and they point it out. So I'm glad I have you here. Let's talk filth and sanitation right now. There was an interesting back and forth, last week between the sanitation minister and the Zoomlion boss, Mr. Agyapong. And so I'm looking at the Chronicle right now. Strict enforcement of bylaws is the answer to sanitation conundrum, says Dr. Sian Agyapong, CEO of Jospong Group of Companies, under which Zoomlion belongs. Mr. Kofi Adda, on the other hand, was saying that Zoomlion was responsible for the filth in the city. So, Dr. Agyapong is talking about sanitation bylaws being enforced strictly. Other people are talking about attitudes. So, front page of today's graphic, attitude can be the issue. And why have we not been able to solve this sanitation issue, Dr. Mensah? Why? I mean, is it so hard to keep the country clean?
You see, the Zoomlion guy is right, because if you're not enforcing, your laws, then of course, like we have just said, people would not, take anything serious, because what is there to be afraid of, or what is there to gain if the laws are not being implemented? So I think that he's right, and for me, I think that the attitude that we're talking about is actually embedded in that. As I said earlier, you've got to let people be aware of what consequences are there for them, if they do the wrong things, and then what rewards are there for them if they do the right things. Now, if these things are not being done, then of course we're going to have people taking the liberties, as Mr. Point said, in every society. And if you look at socialization, no other place is different from the other. I mean, if you go to the Americas, the attitudes and behaviors are the same as us, because we're all the same human beings. If you give us the latitude, if you give us the space, we'll just misbehave. We'll just do things. And if you go into the literature, they say, are human beings inherently good or inherently bad? Right. We've had this discussion over and over, and people say inherently good, people say inherently bad, all right? Which means that there is no stereotypical character, all right? It means that if you don't have the rules of engagement, and people are aware of the rules of engagement, they will take matter to their own hands. They will behave in a way that you wouldn't expect, or you don't want them, or you don't want them to actually behave. So, for me, I think that we have to strictly implement, bylaws, including rewards, including punitive measures, and then people will fall in place. Now, the idea that it's a matter of Zoomlion, I mean, they have been employed, to execute a particular job. And if he says that, yes, you gave us a period of 9 to 5. After 9 to 5, what happens next?
It's over to you, Joel.
Exactly. So if you really want them to, keep the city clean, then they can show you evidence of what they do.
But are they responsible for the filth in the city? That's what the minister said. He's blaming Zoomlion. Zoomlion says, Ghana is, look out, Ghana is clean. It's a little London.
I was actually passing, I think I was in the Kolebu area, and I saw this, is it Odor River?
No, it's the Lavender Hill.
The Lavender Hill.
Yeah. That through Circle, does it go through?
Odor.
Yeah.
Odor.
Yeah. Look, elsewhere, this is a canal, kind of.
For tourism, eh? Like Venice.
Big time.
It's a canal. I mean, dredge it, let it be flowing properly, put boats on them. You can tour the city.
Charge some money and make some money.
You can tour the city, and people can use the transportation from, those communities area to Circle and around those areas. But it's there, and it's significant, very, very significant, visible, and it tells us immediately, our character. And tourists have been into this country, and they've written about it. There was one post that was disastrous, very, very, very bad post, regarding, tourism in this country, and that's visible. If I were the sanitation minister, that is the first thing I would do. And then when you do that, it even symbolizes you're doing something, because this is visible, people can see, and you probably had solved it.
Okay.
Even if you're not able to solve other people,
you can at least solve them when it's
because
visible.
This is age-old stuff. We've had this, over and over.
And it will mark a success. Why can't we do? I mean, people are talking and weighing in with attitudes, enforcement, build more toilets, cover more gutters. I mean, why can't we just have a comprehensive plan to deal with this thing once and for all?
I'll start from where Dr. ended. I mean, elsewhere, that should be the most expensive place to live, the so-called Lavender Hill area. I mean, go to other places, because civilization actually started around rivers, marine bodies. Civilization. I mean, the UK is UK because they were favored, or they asked to be favored by abundance in marine bodies. Water, the Thames. The Thames is not different from what we have here. Sometimes even the way our estuaries are shaped around this Lavender, the Kolebu area, if we develop it well, it's a huge source of income, not just as tourist center, but even residential. Offices, number one Thames, if your office happens to be there, I mean, by mentioning it alone, really gives people some sense of, yes, the guy is doing very well. Because it is not, I mean, a place you can easily even rent a square meter.
Yeah.
But going to attitude, sometimes my view may be a bit unconventional.
Let's have it.
I think that,
I like unconventional.
I think that it is not, as I say, we are not inherently bad or evil. But I say that in my life, one cause that really affected me personally is a question which started with the cause. Why don't people obey laws? Yes, we want our liberties, and we don't want to be constrained or have limitations. But do you make it possible for the person to obey the laws?
That's the question.
Do you make it easy for the person to obey the laws? I will be the last person, I will never do, to encourage people not to obey the laws. But the person on the walk from Circle to Kantamanto, not one public place of convenience. Where you find one, it's expensive to the person going to use it. The person is selling PK. Do we still even have PK? But these little things, what they get, sometimes 2 cedis. He's going to use about 50 pesos just to ease himself. Forgive me this morning.
Don't worry.
And 1 cedi. So he compares this. Of course, you'll be lucky to find some straps somewhere.
Or an open gutter.
Especially for we the men, as they say, ours is just the top.
Yeah.
And not our friends whose is like a well. We can easily do it around our vehicles because we will not be caught.
Yeah.
So let us also make it easier. Because, I mean, why would sometimes you walk around the place, you really want to wee, as they say, but the place is so clean that you have to move to another place.
I actually go into a hotel.
Yes.
Yes. And quickly go use their bathroom and come out.
And most private offices, when you go there, even as a customer, you have to ask for a
key to enter the toilet.
Before you go to the toilet. It never happens anyway. It's part of the public service that private people give to the populace. Even restaurants, sometimes you need a key before you can just access, even as a customer. Not to talk about, and if you are not even coming to buy anything, it's not there.
No, it's not.
Don't even mind.
Yeah. So we need to make it easier for people to obey the laws.
To obey the laws. Because a friend told me he was so hard up in London, he just took his thing, then immediately the police was there. And then he said, I'm diabetic. Then he said that we'll take you to the hospital for confirmation. He said, I started shaking.
Was he really diabetic?
He wasn't.
He wasn't diabetic?
No.
Oh, wow.
He said he's used to it. So
he took his Ghana business to the UK. What?
He was able to get a guy, he just tapped him and said, go, don't do that again. Yeah, we will arrest you immediately.
Next time you do that.
And he was amazed. He never thought anybody was around.
Yeah.
By the time he got to the middle, the police was right behind him.
For peeing in public.
Yes. See, but there are situations like that.
Indeed.
There's nothing we can do about it. At least after every, let's say 1 kilometer
must be
by the road, and it should be free. Let us, because the harm, the cost to us, if we don't provide this, will be about 100 times the cost for provision.
But
so that means that
even at some point,
the taxes must pay for all these things.
At some point, you want to even pay for it. but it's not available.
It's not easily available.
Yeah. So we need to make it easier for people to follow the rules.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Toilets must be available.
That's
Gutters
what
must
they
be
call
closed.
nature's call. There are a number of times you cannot prevent it or even delay it for a longer time. So you just look around and there's an available, beans are around. Of course, some people will still put it down. And then just to conclude, here we put fufu waste in one container, paper in one container, bottle in one container. These things are no waste anymore.
Yeah.
They are resources.
Money.
Yeah.
Resources. The bottles we see have been recycled.
Yeah.
But it's because we put all this in one container and Zoomlion will come for it. It is a waste.
So we need to start separating our, segregating our
But
waste.
these things have been said over and over again.
Action, we need
and
action.
I think that those who are managing this should be sure. Generally, they say the polluter pays.
Yeah.
So when you make the way, the reason I'm saying we are not inherently bad in terms of sanitation, in our rural areas, they have one day set aside where they go out there and clean. Everybody sweeps their house. When they've made the field, but sometimes even where to deposit it then becomes a problem. So let everybody sweep their house, and in front of their house, their offices, in front of their offices.
Another thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut Mr. But another thing is, why is it that Zoomlion and the minister having two divergent views?
Exactly.
That means that there's no coordination. You're a minister of sanitation.
Yeah.
Since the time you came to the office, how many times have we held meetings with the organization that is actually working for you? That's a
Bola minister.
You see, for me, I sorry to say, but I told some of my friends, my colleagues, that whenever there's a change in administration, and you think that the government will be different, look at the arms of government and look at how different they are from the previous administration. You don't see any visionary approach.
It's more of the same.
More of the same. There's no different approach, from previous, things. Yes, we have broad policy statements that actually seems to suggest of a particular direction. But if you cascade it, down the line, majority of the arms, majority of the ministries and things are almost following the same template. People are not actually brainstorming for more, bold moves, etc.
If we're not doing well, you are still giving them contracts. That's evidence that they are satisfied.
But recently they were even praised for doing a great job, and so now they are being blamed for keeping a crafty.
So I think it's trying to give a dog a bad name.
So
you can justify why you have
I'm thinking that they rather should have come out to tell us what new approach
they are using,
and to have them speak in unison. Of the approach that they had, than to have a contrary view.
So we need a harmonized and unified approach. Well, gentlemen, I thank you very much. When you have two teachers as your guests, you get a lot of beautiful stuff going on here. Mr. Yao Pong is a lawyer. And he says he's a teacher too, so he's a teacher as well.
Always a teacher.
Once a teacher, always a teacher. And Dr. Kobi Mensah, who is a teacher of marketing at the University of Ghana Business School. Messages coming in on the issue of sanitation. Our beaches have now become refuse dumps and toilets. What are we doing about this? I saw some very horrible adverts.
But it's not now.
Those people squatting. Yeah. And I thought was that the best way to go about it? But we'll talk about that later. I agree with the lawyer about implementing some of these bylaws. There must be a toilet in every home containing more than 2 people. I also think there must be a refuse bin for every home with at good cost. We must enforce all the issues. Commercial vendors must clean their environments before they close business or be made to pay a fine to the agency in charge. This will help shape our attitudes towards sanitation management. Keep them coming in. We've talked about security and we've talked about sanitation, 2 S's here. In a couple of minutes, we'll be talking about science and technology and development. We've got an achiever. Every day is International Women's Day. And my guest coming up is a telecoms consultant, and she'll be giving us her inspirational story of how she's made it in a male-dominated field. The promises will be very exciting. WhatsApp number 0557-207-351. Coming up next is Hard Talk. But gentlemen, thank you so much. I wish you a good day.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I love this.